Hi, Cancers. This is your mid-December 2019 reading. Wow. Wheel of Fortune. First card out, center of the reading. Looks like we are dealing with divine timing again. Every day, all the time, right? Dealing with. For some of you, like learning how to accept divine timing. Maybe so much so that some of you have accidentally become a little bit complacent. Yep. Yeah. We also have the Four of Swords, the Four of Air showing up for us. So I think immediately what's happening, Cancers, is a lot of you are in the process of incubating new ideas. And it feels to you like you're just, like you're this bird, okay? Check out the bird who's just posted up on this particular version of the Wheel of Fortune. This is the Game of Thrones tarot, by the way. Information on decks is always below. But you are sort of playing the role of this bird here, just waiting for things to happen to you, waiting for the next fated event, waiting for destiny to come calling, to show you the next step. And like I said, I think it may be an acceptance of divine timing, whether you frame it and phrase it that way for yourself or not. It's in essence an acceptance of divine timing that leaves one a bit complacent. And in all actuality, the reason that you want to be in that space, I think a lot of you, is because you're incubating ideas. You're journaling, you're jotting things down, you're sketching, you are looking at your schedule, looking at your calendars, figuring out how you can fit new things in, a new project in, or the work that needs to be done on it, right? Okay. You are, you have the Queen of Cups as well, Queen of Water, Queen of Chalices here, Cancers. A card, one of your cards, a card that represents you to me very much so. But you are just, you're in a space where you are creating these ideas, you are incubating them. That takes time. That deserves time and space. And you're feeling like, oh, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting on the next thing to happen. And some of you, you're sensing that there's some sort of a battle coming on. Maybe you know this for sure. Maybe you're just sensing it in some other way, right? Maybe there are actually argumentative personalities around you who want to have it out, and you know that a fight is coming, a literal, external, verbal argument and a battle in that sense. But for some of you, it's a mental battle. And it may very well be about this that we are already talking about the fact that you need to stop just waiting for fate and destiny and divine timing to bring certain things to you, or you need to stop acting like that's all this period is, when in fact this period is about you coming up with new ideas. And sometimes, you know, say you're a writer, sometimes that takes months and months just to come up with what you want to write about, what your message is, what the next step is, what the next chapter is called, right? And that's just an example, the writing. But it could be any art form, it could be any type of project, anything that you're working on. And you're not doing nothing. Some of you are receiving healing. Maybe just the time out by yourself is what is healing for you, right? Eight of Cups, Eight of Chalices. You, in this time period, are thinking about, deciding to, needing to walk away from something that is not meant for you, Cancerians. That's your advice card. Learn to love the sound of your feet walking away from the things that are no longer meant for you. And perhaps for some of you, what we're talking about never was meant for you. It's going to be different depending on the individual. And the timeline is going to be different since this is your first reading out in December from me, Cancerians. For some of you, it really will just apply to the second half of the month. And I think I'm just calling them mid-December readings. Did I just say November? November just popped into my mind, whether I said it out loud or not. So you may want to look back at how far you've come in just a short period of time, or look back at what in November caused what's going on now for you. Look back at how you would have handled it differently in November, depending on now. Or for some reason that month is sticking with me, whether it, like I said, whether it was out loud or just in my mind. It's definitely a time of change and maybe struggle to create that change, Cancerians. But as I was saying, for some of you, that will just be talking about the end of December 2019 and moving into 2020. And for others of you, we will be talking about the entirety of December 2019, since I didn't get that reading out for you. Let me skip this ad. 5 of Wands is your last card out, and the Justice card is on the bottom of the deck here for us. And we will talk more about those, of course. Okay. So in essence, what is going on right now is that fate and destiny and divine timing is working its will. Okay? And as again, some of you recognize this, but it's causing you to grow complacent. Some of you don't recognize this, right? But fate and destiny is upon you. Either way, it's upon you. Whether you're going through, knowingly going through an incubation period of ideas, knowingly going through a healing period, maybe actually receiving Reiki healing or some other type of energetic healer's work, right? Whether you're actively, knowingly using this time for solemn contemplation and meditation or not, it is a fated, destined time period. So know that. If you're just waiting for something to happen, you don't understand why your manifestations, your goals aren't coming to fruition, know that it is fated for you to have this time out. So what you need to do now is figure out what to do with it. Okay. So if you are incubating ideas, if you are meditating, if you are using this as a healing period, or maybe even seeking external energetic healing during this time period, right? Then that's what it is meant for. So for some of you, it really will just be confirmation. You'll be like, okay, that's what I thought. I was afraid, kind of afraid that nothing was happening, but I thought maybe I needed this time. Then yes, this is confirmation. If you're trying to figure out what to do with the time period while you wait for the next fated event to propel you forward, right? Then that is what to do. Those things I listed. You want some solemn contemplation and meditation, some energetic healing. This is a time of healing for you, even if it's just the time out that's healing. You want to be incubating new ideas. Brainstorm. Even if you're not a writer, that was just an example. Write some things down, right? Start a journal, etc. Right? This is a general reading for a lot of people, so I'm telling a lot of you to try things that you already do, and maybe some of you every day, and you're like, wait, I don't need to be told that. But that's what this time period is about, and that is what it is meant to be about for you. Like, no questions asked. That's what's happening for you as you close 2020 out, Cancerians. And I friggin' love it. I love it. I part of me, my egoic self hates that 9 of my December readings are mid-months. And that's how my entire 2019 has gone, especially in concern with when it came to this channel, right? I just have had, frankly, too many things on my plate. I've moved multiple times, and I have multiple at-home jobs, and it's been that kind of a year where I've been working things out, and perhaps I'm a Cancer rising, so perhaps a lot of you Cancerians feel that way. And I actually happen to have, and this is a coincidence, I have our constellation on. I don't know if you can see that. But I've got my sun, moon, and my rising, and I just happen to have our sign on while when I start your reading. So I'm really identifying with this, I guess, at this time is what I'm saying. And so maybe a lot of you feel that way. Like, not only is that how this month is, that's how this whole year has gone. And since this is a 2019 wrap up reading, it can absolutely be speaking to how the whole year has gone and why that's the way that this year is going to wrap up for us. It's almost making me a kind of verklempt to talk about it, because what a nice realization that where we feel that we have fallen short, we haven't gotten enough done, we didn't get it done by the deadline. You can see how I feel about those. we didn't do it at the time we said we would do it, etc. The multiverse is saying to us, that's what you were supposed to do with this year. You were supposed to be incubating. You were supposed to be meditating. You were supposed to be healing. And if you haven't, then let's get that in these last couple of weeks, shall we? At least as much of it as humanly possible. Because if it feels like you've just been still, if it feels like you are still, that is what this is about for you. It's everybody needs those times sometimes, and we are fated to have that time now, and maybe for some of us for a while, to sort of get our SHIT together, Cancerians, is what's coming through. To just not necessarily in like the original Western world sense of the phrase, right? But like more so in the sense of just figuring out what you want to do. You know, like I said, for a writer, it might take you months to come up with the next idea or chapter or what have you. But for any given person, figuring out what you want to do with your life or what you want to do next with the next period of your life and this specific type of energy that you have at whatever age you are, right? That can take a long time. I've said it before on this channel. It took me a decade to figure out that this is what I wanted to be doing. From almost a decade, from almost 20 to almost 30, I set aside acting, and I didn't set aside writing, but I set aside acting, which I had been doing since I was 5. And I started saying, what else do I feel that passionately about? Because I had wanted to do it my whole life, you know, and I thought, what else? I want to try other things. Actors are supposed to try lots of different things so that they have lots of different experiences to bring to the table anyway. So my way of thinking was, you know, I'll just try a bunch of different things. And if that's all I did, if I just tried a bunch of things and just come right back to this, then cool, then that's what I did. It's part of my work anyway, you know? I have to justify everything to myself. Can't just be like, because I want to. So it took me 10 years. Almost 10 years to figure out, oh, I want to be taroting all the time and I want to try to make it a profession. I was already doing it. You know, I was like driving myself nuts. Like, why don't I know what I want? You know, like that, I mean, it was almost a midlife crisis. Don't I know who I am? Why don't I know what I want? And it wasn't that I didn't know anything I wanted. I just wanted to find something that excited me. I was chasing the same excitement that acting had previously given me. And it had worn off because I made it too much work. I made it too hard. I had to be a perfectionist about it. And I took the joy out of it for myself a little bit. So then, you know, almost a decade in, I looked back at what I had been doing, what had been supporting me and seeing me through for that almost a whole decade. And I was already doing it. I had already been taroting for 5-6 years when I realized, oh, I've already been doing the thing that I've been searching to figure out, right? So maybe some of you can relate to that. What are you already doing? What do you unconsciously do? What do you gravitate toward as a hobby or as a healing fix? Because that's what tarot was doing for me. That matches nothing else in your life, but it is an activity that is purely joy for you and you don't want to turn it into work. Maybe that is the thing that you want to kind of turn into a project, but you just want to approach it differently than you have other projects. just throwing that out there. I know that's a whole lot about me, but I'm really getting the feeling that some of that information will resonate with some of you. So we'll leave it at that. Just know that, like, if you're just trying to figure out what do I want to do, you know, it takes some of us a decade. So allow this to be a time of incubation, brainstorming, journaling, meditating, healing, energetic healing, etc. And maybe for some of you, you are the healer in this image, not the healed, right? Maybe that's what it is that you want to be doing, but you only do it for family and friends and yourself, and you don't charge money, and you can't imagine charging money. I know. But you have to be honest with yourself about what you want. Okay, so even if you think the thing that I really love to do and I want to do, I could never imagine charging money for it. Fine. I want you to just be, the reading wants you to just be honest with yourself about what you want. I wish, though, that I lived in a world where I could charge for it. Wouldn't it be cool if I could support myself by doing that? Wouldn't it be amazing if I felt like it was okay to ask for money for this thing that I want to give away? Just start there. Just be honest with yourself. You wish you could, though. You wish you don't want to ask the people for money, maybe, specifically for some of you, maybe, but you wish that you could. You wish there was a way that you could just do blank, whatever your activity is, all day, and somehow be provided for and supported by that, or at the same time even, right? Just be honest with yourself just be totally honest about what you wish it could be. Okay, so back to this. Like I said, some of you, though, the reason that you're taking this time period for healing is because you sense this battle coming on. And oh, is it coming on? This is your near future. This is your more distant future. What is a mental battle at first turns into an all-out feud here in the more distant future. So by the end of the month, moving into December even, of course, time's fluid, going to be different for every individual. We can always do a personal reading. Check out the description down below for information on readings, donations. There are links. There's an email address. All of it's down below. But it does turn into an all-out feud. And what I see here are many different suitors. So for some of you, this is people fighting over you. That's coming through really strongly. But it could be people fighting over you in different ways, right? Maybe in a romantic sense for some of you. Maybe for some of you, it's a family feud about what it is you want to do with your life, like we've been talking about, or what you want to do next with this next chapter, with this next bout of energy that you have to dedicate to something. And I think a lot of you do. You want to get into mysticism. You know, that makes sense. You're here, you're listening to a tarot reading. It seems that healers gravitate toward healers. And so all these readings, they tend to circulate around and talk about a lot of the same topics, but I think it's because healers gravitate toward healers, right? Light worker see light worker. We've got with this Queen of Cups in the past here, yes, this is a Cancerian energy, but this is a mystic, this is a psychic, this is an empath, this is a healer, maybe a counselor, maybe a musician, this is an artist, this is a creative, because those creations work to heal us too. Of course, this is an artist of any type, right? An artist, a healer of any type, mystic, magical, or otherwise. And this is the energy you've been sitting in. This is what you have. This is what you've already been. And isn't that what I was saying? Isn't that what I was trying to say to you? Perhaps the idea you're trying to come up with, just like I was during that decade of doubt. And I had fun. Don't get me wrong. I had lots of fun. Have lots of fun with your time off as much as possible. But for a lot of you, you've already been doing what you're going to find you want to do. And I don't necessarily mean your life purpose, maybe. I heard it said not too long ago somewhere in this tarot mystic community on YouTube that our purpose is just to vibrate as high as we can, to be as happy as we can. I feel like, I could be wrong about this, I'm going to drop a name. I feel like it was Joanna the medium who I heard say that. I could be wrong. But she's always saying beautiful stuff just like that, as often as I have time to listen to her anymore anyway. But I heard that not too long ago from a voice that was similar to hers, if it wasn't, that our purpose can't be any one thing specifically, like, you know, molding clay, for instance. Because then what if someone comes along, or a terrible tragic accident comes along and takes a hand or two from you? Does that mean you don't have purpose anymore? Now, those things are different because it's 2020, so bionics are upon us, right? So those things are different for us now, which is also really exciting to think about. Cancerians, you must be jazzed. You must be jazzed, a lot of you. So I think that it, you know, even for those of you who are in this waiting period, and you're a little complacent, and you're maybe even a little unsure of what you're supposed to be doing, or whether or not you're supposed to be spending so much time in meditation and healing, because it's the holidays for a lot of us. So many of you are jazzed anyway, like maybe not about this particular topic that we're on, but there's so much excited energy right now. And I didn't do anything differently. I've had less tea than I normally do, honestly. So it's got to be y'all's energy. And like I said, I'm a Cancer rising too, so I'm really connecting with you. But point being, I got way off track there. Point being, some of you are already doing the thing that you've been searching for. And even if you're not excited about that, I can feel that a lot of you have a lot of excited energy. So ride that wave. Unfortunately, where a lot of you are excited for this isn't unfortunate, but a lot of you are just excited, I realize, for the next year to start. You're like, I'm ready for a fresh start. I'm ready to go again. I get that too. I've had endings to years much like that. Let this end. Let this be over. I'm ready for the next. So that's why I sense a lot of jazzed energy from some of you. And I think, you know, and you know, just to get specific again, these fights coming, these feuds, this is a necessary struggle that is creating a change in your life. The way you see yourself, the way you see your intimate, close, maybe familial relationships, or just the relationships that feel like family members. Because this is like a family feud energy, but that could be friends or coworkers who feel like family to you, right? Who are a type of family to you. But yeah, some of you feel like there are things you didn't accomplish in 2019 that you wanted to, right? And that's where we get the advice of learning to love the sound of your feet, walking away from things that are no longer meant for you. Some of you have tapped into the energy of someone who was close with you, maybe even a partner, maybe even that close, maybe even an intimate romantic partner, maybe not quite an intimate romantic partner, but, you know, someone very, very close to you like that in any case. And that is what has you healing and fighting and feuding, because you know what is going on with them, even if they aren't telling you, or you know what is going on with them and with the combination of the two of you, even if their communication isn't clear. Because I also just heard that, yes, Mercury is direct now, and we are out of the post-shadow period, but there's another aspect, Mercury squaring Neptune, that may have been what it was, that can be worse. And I've been wondering that, guys. I mention it. I'm not stealing from, taking from any other astrologer, because I don't even know if I could really appropriately call myself an amateur astrologer. I will totally own the fact that I'm just picking up bits and pieces and learning as I go. Also something I'm really excited about. But I've been saying to my tech, to all the little travel and technology frustrations and communication frustrations in my life, I've been saying out loud, what is happening? Mercury retrograde is over. The shadow period is over. Please stop. Please stop acting like it's still Mercury retrograde. Please quit, you know, because Mercury retrograde is thick for me. It's hard for me. The shadow periods are even harder every time. And we have them like, what, 17 flipping times a year? And they're not all frustrating, right? I have trouble doing exactly what the reading is telling us to do. This time is meant for timeout. I don't want to. Life is too short as it is, right? I don't want to take a time out. I don't want to. And so many people struggle with that. But it's what it's meant for. Look back at old projects, retreat into meditation. We always hear that. And it's beneficial. It works. So for there to be more, though, for me to like finally learn how to embrace Mercury retrograde and then it to hit so hard that the post shadow period has been over and I'm still feeling it, that kind of ticked me off. I mean, I was just like, why is this still happening? And yeah, I heard it. I'll look at the calendar. I think I heard Mercury squaring Neptune. Yes, that happens on the 19th. And I did hear that from a more knowledgeable astrologer that, yeah, that's going to be just as bad or not going to be, but can be for certain people worse even than Mercury retrograde. So not that it's the exact same effects, but it is Mercury still, right? And then Jupiter, let me just get this calendar out for us. Jupiter exactly trined Uranus yesterday. So as if we weren't seeing the effects of Jupiter moving into Cap enough, that could be some more really positive, beneficial effects for a lot of us. And you do have Sagittarius energy for me, right at the center of your reading. Destiny is calling. Fate is calling. Maybe you're not hearing it, or maybe you just don't like the fact or understand yet that you're supposed to be still during this time, but hear that call at this time. And even if the call is saying rest so that you're ready for, because there are battles coming up. I mean, that's not all you're resting up for, but there are. This might just be mental battles in your own mind, but it's turning into an outright feud with competitors around you. Or for some of you, multiple people competing for your attention, your ear, competing to be able to persuade you, influence you in some way. And you want to be well rested for it. You want to be well rested for it, and you want to show gratitude for the things that have seen you through the battles that have led you to the point you're at now. And once you revisit that and you show gratitude, even in just your own mind and your own heart and in your own way, even just silently, right? Once you find and show gratitude, spend time on the gratitude for those people, those places, those practices, those traits of yours that have guarded you, armed you, seen you through the battles that have led you to this point, then you'll appropriately be much more recently in touch with what you're going to use to arm you in the coming battles now at the end of this month, the beginning of next year. Struggle and change is necessary. It's for everyone. It's for all of us. Some of us get a larger dose than others, admittedly, sure, but you're talking to a Life Path 5, so I know all about the struggle bus, and I don't have any complaints. I mean, not today, right? It's going to be a time period, Cancerians, where you're a lot closer to spirit than you even are normally. So again, there's this call to like, listen up, listen, sit in meditation if you have trouble with that. Especially if you're wanting to get into the esoteric, mysticism, healing, your creativity of any kind, any type of healing. Even, artistic work, even if you don't think of it as doing it for other people, it's healing. You're feeling so driven to do it for a reason, for more of a reason than just to satisfy your own ego and your own life's journey. It's beautiful, it's amazing, it's profound, but you're feeling such a call and a pull towards it, such an obsession over that art, or that desire to do that art, because of how many paths and journeys and people and lives it will touch and influence and heal and work to heal. That inspiration is coming from somewhere other than just from you. No matter how much we'd like to take credit for some of it sometimes, right? It's coming from somewhere and for a reason. You're feeling so compelled because there's so many people that it could help. But things need left behind. Is it the fact that you can't sit in meditation? Is it a toxic relationship? Is it a toxic habit? Multiple bad habits? Is it a negative attitude of, why is this taking so long? What am I doing wrong? Why can't I blank? Why won't life give me blank? You know, it might be an attitude. It might be a relationship. It might be a person. It might be a substance. It's a place that you're not supposed to be in anymore. I may be meaning that, I'm sure I mean that literally for some of you, but for others we mean a state of mind, a state of being, a way of being, that it's not you anymore. It's literally not who you are anymore. So the mental battles and the subsequent struggle for some of you could just be about the fact that you're trying so hard to hold on to this old version of you. You're trying to stay living in a place that has been invaded. It's been invaded here by thoughts of your future, new traits that you embody now, or people who are uncomfortable with you there in that space now, external to you. These daydreams of your future, there are warring thoughts, at least, if not warring individuals here, that are pushing you out of a place that you should let them. It might be your higher self, your future self calling to you, these different versions of yourself calling to you, grow, expand, change, let it happen. But you have to do the walking away from this old state of being, this old way of living, this old place of being. You have to do the walking away. I am sensing and feeling that for most of you, the discomfort that we feel here at the end of the year, the struggle, the strife, mostly, at least mostly, if not completely, stems from the fact that you really don't want to. And that's why you're being advised to. You're holding on for some reason. Comfort, just comfort for a lot of you. For others of you, it's because you've invested in your current lifestyle, your current partner, perhaps you've been with them for a long time, or your current career, perhaps you've stuck with it for a long time, or the project that didn't get completed in 2019, the timeline, the deadlines, the schedule that didn't come to pass, whatever it may have been. For some of you, you've invested quite a lot of time and energy in that, and so it's very hard to throw in the towel and say, well, that one didn't work out. That place didn't work out. That project didn't work out. That timeline, for a lot of you, just the timeline didn't work out. And so it's time to move it to 2020, right? But whatever it is, you are advised to walk away from it. And walk away from those things that you know truly aren't for you. Like I said, you don't belong where you are anymore, and you're different people are trying to hold on for different reasons. I'd love to hear in the comments how this resonated with you. I'd love to do personal readings to figure out specifically why it is you're not wanting to let go here. I think something I'm going to start doing in 2020 is probably some extended readings, so also let me know if that's something that you would like. And if you want to let me know how it resonated, but you prefer to message me, absolutely, we can have a conversation that way. I understand if you don't want it in the comments. But yeah, it's just very interesting because I can see that there are different reasons for different Cancerians, but we're all trying to hold on to something that some part of us knows really might not even be ours. But there's some fear, there's some resistance for multiple different various reasons of not wanting to move forward. And we have to allow the precise and impartial truth, the precise and totally impartial truth, to cut away what is not true for us, at least not anymore. And it may be some Libra energy that this all revolves around, because we have the Libra card, the Justice card, and then we have the Knight of Air down here as well. It may be a Libra energy that some of you are trying to hold on to. It might be a Libra area of your chart that you'd like to investigate. What area of your chart does Libra rule? Investigate how that has something to do with what you're holding on to. And for others, it may be a Libran energy that you're moving into or toward, beginning to embody or inviting into your life. But in either case, most of you are having trouble with the holding on part, wanting to hold on tightly to what you already have, what you've already built, what you've already worked for. This is a steady, sturdy structure. There's this question in your mind, what if I walk away from this thing that my intuition is saying, oh, this isn't for you anymore, and I regret it? What if I regret it? What if I want to go back? And that's what you're being defensive about, because you know that it would just be you who's in that spot that wants to go back, who can't get back, right? And you don't want to go through that. It also may involve sharing an unpleasant truth, or wielding a truth that is uncomfortable to wield because of the people in your life or society in general, the way that it responds to it, especially if it's like a mystic's profession. Sure, there's a lot of stigma around it. We expand and grow all the time, right? But I absolutely have to have an attitude of, I honestly do not care what anybody else thinks. I just don't. I used to, and one day I just realized, oh, telling myself not to finally worked. I just really don't. You know, what's for you is what's for you, and what's for me is what's for me, and we have different understandings about things, and I could not care less. I couldn't. And I do think that it is that type of profession that asks that of you. Just to throw that out there as someone who is into healing and trying to make a go of it, right? Yeah, it does ask that of you. You can't be constantly doubting and questioning all the time. There's no way to stay in the flow of what you're doing if you're worried about the fact that other people are questioning it. And that could be true for anything. That could be true for any type of healing, like we were listing, creative works, etc., etc. That said, this reading, Cancerians, is much longer than I meant it to be, so I think I will let you go. And I think that is what the reading is saying to you. There's been a lesson, there's been a state of being that has gone on much longer than it was meant to, and you need to let it go. Whatever, wherever, whomever even it is. It's time for that. It is overwhelmingly time for that if this reading resonates with you. And I hope that the needed insight was able to reach you here, Cancerians. I truly love you, and I truly look forward to doing another reading for us just as soon as I can. Do make the most of the end of December 2019 and the end of 2019 in general. Happy New Year.